This is Kerry Shamblin with the December 2024 Vedic Astrology forecast. First, we'll have a quick summary from the 9 planets. The Sun shifts from Scorpio to Sagittarius on December 15th, dividing the month into halves. Early December sees us busily navigating and preparing for jumping a gap we know must be traversed, but which seems fraught with danger and with a decent chance of failure. Nonetheless, we leap. The second half of December finds us reassembling our intentions after taking steps toward positive growth. The Moon. The full moon in Taurus on December 15th brings all of the feels, with almost every other planet participating in the dance. We may not know whether to celebrate or retreat. Absorb the cacophony while you stay grounded in your routine. The new moon of December 30th invites us inward to find the golden resolutions for the year ahead. Choose the connections and pathways that make you rise and shine, and resolve to foster them. Mars will swim through the waters of Cancer during December, making an about face on December 6th as he begins retrograde motion. Retrograde debilitated Mars gives us a chance to dig deep and learn the secrets of both masculine and feminine expressions of power. It's time to learn how to confront without attacking. Mercury. Mercury's analytical genius is going wide and deep in December, finishing up a retrograde phase on November 15th, and then skipping through the late degrees of Scorpio as the new year dawns. Learn how to navigate sticky situations by unplugging and reframing. Learn to blend intellect with intuition in the noble pursuit of efficiency. Jupiter continues to occupy Taurus in retrograde motion through December, attempting to uplift and bring positivity. The results may be flatter than expected or twisted into a puzzle that requires creative effort to unlock results. This energy is teaching us to bank on our inner wisdom and innate ability to create abundance and positivity. Venus moves through Capricorn from December 1st through the 28th, setting us up for a dramatic opposition with Mars, currently motoring through the emotional waters of Cancer. This looks like a study in connection without attachment. Find a way to channel emotions and maintain discipline and self-expression in order to engage gracefully with others. Saturn as the planet of responsibility, practicality, and attainment of goals has resumed forward motion in Aquarius, the unique and humanitarian sign that helps us to synthesize experience and realize long-term efforts. Saturn will be the first of the outer planets to shift signs during the spring of 2025. Start planning now to move from a place of stability and structure when the time comes. Rahu. As 2024 comes to a close, Rahu in Pisces continues to make waves in the water signs, which ripples through our lives, causing spiritual doubt and mental distress. Dive beneath the waves to understand what you truly desire and to experience and navigate in that direction. Following an obsessive track may lead you deeper into your own being when you protect yourself with the regard of a mother. Ketu. With many moving parts in mid-December, combined with a calendar year coming to a close amidst the traditional holiday celebration, running side by side with some other dramatic transits, Ketu in Virgo sits quietly, reminding us that our mental function can be managed and paused when our bodies are in need of rest and nourishment. Sit down, breathe deeply, feel the refreshment of body, mind, and soul. If you want to hear more about planetary placements, please continue listening to the full planetary forecast. Venus transits Capricorn from December 1st through the 28th. From November 6th through December 1st, Venus has been transiting through Jupiter's fire sign Sagittarius. This has created a unique situation between Venus and Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, who is currently transiting through Venus's earth sign Taurus. Venus and Jupiter, two great benefics that when paired together we call the two teachers, are in exchange of signs during November, maximizing the power of positive forces that foster growth and vitality. Since October 9th, Jupiter has been in retrograde motion, which puts a bit of a twist into the results of what we may be expecting from this exchange of signs between two powerful benefic planets. We may have found ourselves digging deep for the positives in the face of sudden and unexpected situations. As December dawns, we should start to feel a new energy based on the transit of Venus. Venus will be shifting from Sagittarius to Capricorn on December 1st, and will spend almost the entire final month of 2024 in Saturn's earth sign of Capricorn, known for fostering determination, hard work, and achieving goals. Without isolating, we keep a healthy perimeter and go gracefully forward with engagements. This is the plan for Venus and Capricorn. Venus and Saturn are natural friends, and Capricorn is considered to be a friendly sign for Venus, an environment where the relationships fostered by Venus become elevated to business transactions of import. Saturn is currently strong, placed in his own sign of Aquarius, and has recently regained direct motion, now providing us a steady structure. During December, with Venus traveling through the stark environment of Capricorn, we could feel a little bit cold and bitter as we attempt to celebrate the holiday season in the Western world. Capricorn is a hardworking sign with a practical basis. Our attention may be focused on the basics, with less energy available for the inspired thrill of holiday cheer. Jupiter will also be involved in Venus's transit through Capricorn. Jupiter from Taurus is aspecting and affecting all of the earth signs, including Virgo, where Ketu is currently transiting, and Capricorn, where Venus will be transiting through December. In addition, the main aspect Venus will be receiving through this transit is that of Mars, who is currently motoring through his debilitation sign of Cancer. This creates quite the dramatic setup, wherein we may feel the polarization between opposites who attract naturally. Mars and Venus interactions, whether conjunctions, oppositions, or other types of interactions, tend to foster dramatic, exciting, dynamic relationships and situations. Mars will be taking up retrograde motion on December 6th, adding to the dual aspect that Venus will be receiving from Jupiter and Mars, who will then both be in retrograde motion. While Venus will not be in retrograde motion, the action of retrograde will still be felt in Capricorn and by Venus, due to retrograde Jupiter and retrograde Mars both pushing there via aspect. This could cause reversals in relationships, in creative projects, and in work that has taken a long time to accomplish. For example, something that has been latent could come back into relevance, helping to rejuvenate a creative process. Venus is the planet that represents relationships. This concept extends from family relationships and friendships to partnerships and all the way up to community engagement and politics. Mars is the planet that represents power and protection, from personal physical strength to the power of a country's military or police force. When Mars and Venus interact, these realms collide. Reversals within relationships and power dynamics could be a theme as this month progresses. The environment of Capricorn suggests that we remain humble and keep our long-term goals in mind as we choose our battles and alliances. Mars retrograde in Cancer from December 6th through February 23rd. In the larger picture of Mars's transits, remember that we are seeing Mars spending almost 9 months in 2 signs alone, Gemini and Cancer. Mars entered Gemini on August 26th and then moved into Cancer on October 20th. From October 20th until December 6th, we're seeing Mars moving direct in the sign of Cancer. On December 6th, we will see Mars take up a retrograde cycle that ends on February 23rd. On January 21st, retrograde Mars will move back from Cancer to Gemini, which will be a point in next month's forecast. For now, let's look at what Mars retrograde in Cancer might bring from December 6th through January 21st. Mars, the planet of power, protection, and strategy, is considered to be debilitated in Cancer. He struggles to do his fiery job while swimming through the waters of Cancer, the place that we count on for quiet, calm, and nurturing. Cancer is the sign ruled by the moon, known to be the sign of the mother. Cancer is like the nursery of the zodiac, our crib, where we come to be vulnerable, seeking the unconditional love and support of the mother. Mars plays his role in making things grow in the world by managing our power and strength. When Mars's energy is channeled in the right way, great things can be accomplished. When Mars's power is flowing chaotically, we can find ourselves in violent situations. Retrograde planets who are also in a debilitated state tend to bounce back quite strongly. This is a double negative situation that could make Mars even stronger. Cancer is affected by Mars's transit, and in addition, Mars aspects continue to beam into 3 different signs from Cancer. Mars's 4th aspect hits the sign of Libra, the air sign of Venus, perhaps reversing relationship dynamics or inspiring strong political action. The 7th aspect of Mars will affect Capricorn and Venus therein, bringing opposite forces face to face in the arena. This opposition brings up the words Homeland Security, due to Cancer and Capricorn being sponsored by the Moon and Saturn, the 2 planets that force us to confront vulnerability and fear. The 8th aspect of Mars will affect the sign of Aquarius, where Saturn currently transits. This brings forth a theme of deep transformation that requires just the right recipe of push and pull. What is the best way to maximize this powerful, debilitated yet retrograde Mars? Mars transiting a water sign like Cancer, while in the state of retrograde, very much evokes the scorpionic side of Mars. Scorpio is the water sign ruled by Mars and co-ruled by the planet Ketu. Ketu is the south node of the moon, known for its reversals. Ketu and Rahu, the nodes of the moon, naturally travel in retrograde motion. Scorpio's energy matches the state of retrograde Mars and Cancer. What can we do with Scorpio energy? Scorpio is the feminine aspect of the powerful, fiery Mars energy, which often associates with masculinity. Scorpio is the feminine aspect of Mars, the power that lies beneath the surface of things, the place where we find solutions that are not obvious. Direct Mars may rely on brute force and strategy to get things done. A retrograde Mars goes within, looks deeper, and digs under the surface to find the solutions to the problems that may be binding us at this time. Retrograde Mars is inviting us to let go, to use the feminine flow like a Tai Chi master to overcome opponents effortlessly. Scorpio, the sign, uses the scorpion as a symbol, the most terrifying predatory arachnid that any one of us may encounter. While the scorpion stares you in the face, their tail comes from behind, stinging and surprising. In this posture, we can face and confront, choosing to attack if necessary. We may find that the energy of retrograde Mars also helps us to undo what is no longer powerful and to rewire our channels of connection so that we may reclaim lost energy. Once again, here's Mars's itinerary for the tour to Gemini and Cancer. Mars in Gemini, August 26th through October 20th. Mars direct in Cancer, October 20th through December 6th. Mars retrograde in Cancer, December 6th through January 21st. Mars retrograde in Gemini, January 21st through February 23rd. Mars direct in Gemini, February 23rd through April 2nd. Mars in direct in Cancer, round 2, April 2nd through June 6th. We will have a full moon in Taurus, Mrigashira, on December 15th. The December 15th full moon in the very last degree of Taurus is similar to the November 15th full moon in Aries, in the sense that just after both events, both the sun and moon change signs. The full moon offers us a sense of completion and capacity. When the sun and moon are on the border of a sign while this happens, it may feel as if we're collectively experiencing the instability that comes with transition. In December, the full moon in transition, with the sun in transition, feels even more deeply, as if the cost of letting go is too much to risk things not rising as expected on the other end. The sun will be at 29 degrees 41 minutes Scorpio when the moon lines up across the field at 29 degrees 41 minutes Taurus. This puts the sun squarely in the Gandanta between Scorpio and Sagittarius at this full moon, which is further spiced up with retrograde Mercury joining the sun and retrograde Jupiter joining the moon. The moon becomes full in the nakshatra Mrigashira, which spans the sign of Taurus and Gemini. Mrigashira is symbolized by a deer, an animal that embodies the active energy of wandering and searching. Taurus and Gemini have Venus and Mercury as their lords, making these neighboring sky spaces quite energetic and creative. Mrigashira is ruled by Mars, bringing force and intention into the movement, transforming wandering into searching. For those curious about what the implications of Gandanta are, we see 3 spots in the observable zodiac that lie 120 degrees from each other, and are the joints between a water sign and a fire sign in the zodiac. We start the zodiac with Aries, a fire sign, and more moving forward through the signs encounter the first Gandanta stepping between Cancer and Leo. The second Gandanta comes in the transition between Scorpio and Sagittarius, while the third is at the final juncture of the zodiac when Pisces swims right back into Aries. On an elemental level, bridging or conjoining water and fire poses a challenge, as the natural way of things is for water to extinguish fire. On a philosophical level, existing as a human being made of body, mind, and spirit, the natural way of things is for the mind, which is like water, to extinguish the spirit, which is like fire. How do we, as humans on our lifetime journey, contend with finding a way for mind and soul to coexist, without one destroying the other? The Gandanta points in the zodiac reflect these type of crux points in our human journey. The crux in question this December 15th is the second in the zodiac, between Scorpio and Sagittarius, the natural 8th and 9th signs, which implies a great leap that hopefully results in positive growth. Risk assessment on this leap is challenging at the moment, due to the ripples of watery Scorpio reflecting the aspects of anxious Saturn combined with that of confusing Rahu. It's hard to tell what the real danger is when seen through the lens of both mind and soul at this time. So what to do? Where to tune in? Both the curious student Mercury and his wise teacher Jupiter are retrograde and deeply in conversation. Sun and Moon are opposite and changing signs, while the Sun particularly is donning a wingsuit, i.e., we are learning to trust our souls and take a leap. Saturn and Rahu are both loudly whispering concerns and warnings. Venus and Mars are arguing and or making up in the next room. It's a lot happening all at once. Back to the basics. The Sun represents the concept of soul and spirit, and the Moon represents the concept of mind and emotions. Right now, we can use this anything goes full moon energy to gather our forces, bring ourselves into alignment, and get on with the risk assessment. With literally every planet involved in this high-spirited full moon of December, let us turn to Ketu and find a seat to rest, record, and breathe through this dynamic time. For better or worse, this is the time of our life. Be here now. Root down in your body. Breathe. Be kind to yourself and others. Get still and listen. The Sun transits Sagittarius December 15th through January 13th. The Sun moves into Sagittarius December 15th, getting ready for the winter solstice, which falls on Saturday, December 21st, when the Sun reaches 6 degrees Sagittarius, pulling us into our annual alignment with the galactic center. At this time, Sagittarius is one of the quieter places in the zodiac, free from difficult aspects and, more sweetly, enjoying a nice cushion with Mercury transiting Scorpio and Venus transiting Capricorn, the two adjacent signs. Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, is transiting Taurus, which is enjoying a similar freedom from negative aspects. Whatever leap was made at the full moon, just hours before the Sun moved through the Gandanta and into Sagittarius, we must find a way to adjust to a new set of circumstances. Taking whatever fruits we do collect, we are now faced with resuming our journey, finding our direction, and using the materials around us to build toward the next stage of our trip. In personal horoscopes, the Sun covers the domain of individuality, sovereignty, self-esteem, and personal agency. On this part of the journey, it is essential that you be in touch with what makes you, you. To not only know your passions and preferences, but to support them with your creative force. Return to your path, weave in the ways of self-care, and understand what nourishment your roots need for you to grow taller and more fruitful. Mercury direct in Scorpio on December 15th. Mercury retrograde is usually enough to open some stuck lids, but the Mercury retrograde cycle that began November 25th and will wind up on the very eventful day of December 15th could be particularly jarring. Take the pun or leave it. Mercury's main method of communication during very difficult moments often comes through humor. The water sign Scorpio expresses the feminine energy of Mars and also debilitates the moon, which, honestly, Mercury cheers on a bit. Mercury is a data-driven thinker. Cloudy and deep emotions that stir the pot without giving a clear analysis just get in Mercury's way. Therefore, flexible Mercury does get a lot of living and learning done anytime he travels through Scorpio. Mercury, as the ever-bright student, and Jupiter as the knowledge-filled teacher, have a special bond among the planets. Each relies on the other to express their role, creating a symbiosis of learning and teaching that creates lineages. In Scorpio, Mercury creates a face-off with Jupiter. Mercury's retrograde cycle overlaps Jupiter's, intensifying the connection. This could result in connections or breaks with teachers, courses of study, and even health trajectories that involve complicated care and teams. After Mercury resumes direct motion on December 15th, he starts to pick up speed and covers the latter degrees of Scorpio as the calendar year turns, moving to Sagittarius on January 4th. If jubilance is lacking due to the retrograde motion of Jupiter, which persists through February 3rd, use the deep analysis of Mercury in Scorpio to incisively get organized and plan for the new calendar year. Venus transits Aquarius December 28th through January 27th. Still in friendly territory due to affinity for Saturn, Venus shifts from Capricorn to Aquarius for about a month, gliding through the mountain fastness of Sirius Saturn, getting a better view of how things look in the writhing world below. There may be a shift in whatever dynamic was created with the Venus opposition to Mars during the Venus and Capricorn days of December. When Venus moves to Aquarius, there is still an aspect coming from Mars, as he has the magical ability to aspect 4th house, 7th house, and 8th house from his position. This will be Mars pushing at Venus, who also gains strength by joining with her friend Saturn, but in a slightly different way. We could look at it this way. When Mars and Venus confront one another in an opposition, we see the push and pull between the needs of the individual and the needs of the collective. Venus uses diplomacy and tends to concede territory due to an aversion for fighting. Mars shows strength in order to push the other towards surrendering rights in favor of protection. With Venus moving in to join Saturn, the wisdom of experience coming from Saturn could urge us to stick to our boundaries and be ready to defend them, because we know that Mars will still try to bully us into caving. Stay strong, need less. Connect with those who are receptive to your baseline. New moon in Sagittarius, Purvashada Nakshatra on December 30th. New moons bring an ebb of physical and mental energy, signaling us to turn within, slow our bodies, and reset our minds. The sun and moon join at 16 degrees Sagittarius on December 30th, bringing an end to the lunar cycle very close to the turn of the 2024 to 2025 calendar year. The new moon of December pulls us into our own center, just as the winter solstice shortly before brings our attention to the new sun of winter. Sagittarius, as mentioned, may not feel as buoyant this year with Jupiter retrograde, Saturn strong, Rahu roiling, and Mars mired. Resist isolation, apathy, and bitter regard during this year's end. Find that strong golden thread that lives inside you and allows you to be whole within yourself and also connective with others. The moon and sun join in Purvashada Nakshatra, which lies entirely within Sagittarius, but is ruled by a connective and empathetic Venus. This nakshatra has the power to heal and grow our connections, making us exponentially supported and connected. Going back to the challenge of water meeting fire, this nakshatra shows us the way. It is Venus ruled, like the water element, and completely contained in a fire sign. Going forward as we bring both our minds and our souls into this alchemy, let us follow the moon and the sun, whose natural roles are to symbolize the manas, the mind, and the atma, the soul. May the dark nights of this new year hold us all gently as we make our way forward into the light.